Good morning, everybody. This is Mrs. Pagan. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about solving linear inequalities. So let's go ahead and get started. When you're solving graphing linear inequalities, what I want you to pay attention to a couple sign changes. So I'm going to actually write two of the signs up top. So this is greater than and this is less than symbols. These are symbols that we use when the number is not part of the answer. So, for example, in this one, x is greater than 5. That means that 5 is actually not one of the answers. And when we have things like greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, that means that the number that we are talking about is part of the answer, because of the word equal to. Now, when we are graphing, two things happen. The greater than and less than will be represented with an open circle, and greater than or equal to or less than or equal to will be represented with a closed circle. So keep that in mind, and I put it on the top so that we can constantly look at those if we need to. All right, let's go ahead and look at the first example. Now it says graph the following, and it's giving us x is greater than 5. So what we're going to do is put this on the x-axis, on the number line. Well, we know that 0 is right here, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is right there. Since this is greater than, we know it is an open circle, so we're going to make an open circle at 5. Now, think of numbers where x would be greater than 5. What are some numbers? So, for example, 6 is greater than 5. Okay, so 6. We're going to head in the direction of 6, which is to the right of this circle, and we're going to just continue it. And notice that I bolded the arrow because it keeps going on to the right direction of that line. All right, great job. Let's look at this one. So first of all, I notice that it's greater than or equal to, so I know that it's a closed circle because it falls into this category right here. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the number line, and here's 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 4. At 4, we're going to have a closed circle because it's equal to. And then it says x is greater than or equal to 4. So, well, numbers that are greater than or equal to 4 are 4, 5, 6, 7, so on. So I'm going to once again head to the right direction. All right. So let's go on to, now every problem will be a little bit different, so don't think that all of the arrows are going to face to the right. That is not true. All right, let's look at example C. Now, example number C, what you'll notice is, I'm going to kind of pull it up a little bit. What you'll notice is there's two numbers on the side of the x. So I'm going to actually separate these. Notice that x is here, and the greater symbol, it's opening to it, so I'm going to make it look the same. You see how the mouth is here? I did the same thing here. -3. This is an and problem, and x is also less than 4. So notice I kept this the same. I just flipped the other one around. And we're going to go ahead and graph both of these. Well, we know 0 is right here, so we're going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4. And we also need -3. -1, -2, -3. So here are the values. Now, let's start with -3. We can see that -3 has this symbol, greater than or equal to, so we know it's a closed circle at -3. So we're going to go ahead and close it. Now think of numbers that are greater than -3. Well, those numbers go to the right because 0 is bigger, 5 is bigger. So we're going to head this to the right, and it's going to keep going all the way till I get to the arrow. There we go. Awesome. And then we're going to do the same thing. Now, I'm going to choose a different color because I kind of want you to see something. At x is less than 4. Well, less than, so it's an open circle. So I'm going to put an open circle at 4. And numbers that are less than 4 are numbers like 0. And since 0 is to the left of it, we're going to go to the left. To the arrow. Awesome. Now the answer is where they meet. So the final answer that we're going to have, I'm going to draw it on another one, is going to be at -3, there's a closed circle. At 4, there's an open circle. But where those two lines meet, the red and the blue line meet, that's our final answer. So this is final. All the other ones above were to show the work. Great job. Let's look at D really quick. So in D, we have two inequalities that are separated by the word or. So we're going to just kind of take each one and graph it. We have a number at -1, so here's 0, here's -1, and we have a number at 2, 1, 2. All right, so let's look at the symbols to see if they're open or closed. So the first one is less than, well, that's an open. So at -1, we're going to have an open circle. And the other one is less than or equal to, so that's a closed circle. So at less than or equal to, we're going to have a closed circle. Okay? And now let's look at the values. For example, x is less than -1. Numbers that are less than -1 are going down all the way. All right, and then x is greater than or equal to 2, so numbers that are greater than 2 are numbers like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who do we appreciate? I'm not sure if that was a song, but that's what you got. All right, so we're going to the right of that. All right, and that is our final answer. Since both of the arrows are going the opposite direction, that is completely okay to have. There's no overlapping, so we don't get to pick that. All right, well done. Let's give yourself a hand of applause. All right, let's look at the next part. It says, when solving an inequality, which is what we're about to do in a second, it says if you multiply or divide, so I want to underline multiply and divide, by a negative number, we flip the sign of the inequality. And I'm going to show you that in example 2a. All right, it says solve the following inequalities, graph the solution on a number line. We're actually just going to solve them for right now, and what I'm going to ask you to do is graph the solutions on a number line, and we'll go over those in class together. All right, so let's solve the first one. If we were to solve this as a regular equality, then we would subtract 7 first, so we're going to go ahead and do that because we're using the order of operations backwards. 7 minus 7 is 0, which we don't tend to write. We have negative n is less than or equal to. 19 minus 7 is 12. Now notice that it wasn't when you subtract or add, it was multiply and divide. So far we haven't done any of that, so I'm not worried. Well, one thing you do have to see is that this negative is a -1. So what we're about to do is get rid of that -1, and the only way we can is by dividing both sides by -1. Since I'm going to write it, divided by -1, we flip. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip the sign. And so -1 divided by -1 is just n. The sign must be flipped the opposite way, and 12 divided by -1 is -12. And this right here is our answer. Okay, go ahead and graph the number line. Pause me for a second and we'll get started. All right, I hope you paused me. So let's go on to the next one. I am going to check that number line. Please don't forget. All right, so we have 5 minus 5x is greater than. We're going to go ahead and distribute this 4 to both 3 and the negative x. So we have 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times negative x is negative 4x. And then what we have is just regular solving. I'm going to add the 5x to the other side, so let's add 5x. So we end up with 5 comes down, these cancel, is greater than 12. Negative 4x plus 5x is x. All right. All right, and once we have that, all we have to do is subtract the 12x to the other side. 5 minus 12x is negative 7. is greater than x. Now, it does look funny because we're not used to seeing the inequality where the x is on the right side of the inequality. So you can also write this as x is less than -7. Since we're pointing at the x, I continued pointing at the x. So this is how we like to see it, where the x is on the left side. It makes it a little bit easier for us. All right, let's look at C. Now, notice in C, this is very similar to the example that we graphed above in C, where there's two numbers and there's two inequalities. So what we tend to do is treat this as two separate problems that are connected. So we're going to go ahead and add 4 to get x by itself, but we're going to do it to the right side of the inequality as well as the left side. So you kind of do it 3 times. And we're going to take our time here. -12 plus 4 is, -16 plus 4 is -12. Is less than or equal to, we're left with 3x, that comes down. -4 plus 4 is 0, and we have less than or equal to 2 plus 4 is 6. Notice that the signs have not changed because we have not multiplied or divided by a negative number. So now let's go ahead. Last thing is to get rid of the 3 by dividing everything by 3, one side of the equality, the other side of the inequality, and then we have -14 divided by 3 is -4. I'm not changing the sign because we divided by +3. Look at all these positive values underneath. We have the x left alone, okay, and then last but not least, we have the less than or equal to 6 divided by 3 is 2. This right here is our final answer. Well done. All right, let's look at the last one we have to do. The last one is separated, so it's kind of 2 in 1. You know, the sales that they have at the mall, the ones that are buy one, get one free. So here's your buy one, get one free problem. We're going to go ahead and add 1 to both sides. We're solving it separately. We have -2x, -1 and +1 cancel. We're left with less than or equal to. And -5 plus 1 is -4. Last step that we have to take is to get rid of the -2. Only way we can do that is by dividing it by -2. Now, notice I said we just divided by a negative number. Oh! So we need to make sure we do not make an error. So we're going to get x is, flip the sign, there you go, well done. And -4 divided by -2 is 2. Here it is. Well done. Now, we have one more. Please don't forget about the second part of this problem. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to rewrite it here just so that I have more space. We're going to subtract 5 first. 5 minus 5 is 0. We're left with -x is greater than 3. -x means that this is really a -1x, so we're going to have to divide by -1. I'm sorry, what was that? Divide by what? -1. So that means you need to be careful. We're going to have to flip that sign. We have x's. Flip the sign. Great job. 3 divided by -1 is -3, and here are the answers. Make sure to bring that word of or down as well. You did an excellent job today. Here's your only assignment. Please go back to example 2A, 2B, 2C, and 2D and draw those number lines for us. And we are going to go over those tomorrow in the morning when I see you. Great job today. We'll do example number 3 in class as well. Have a good day. Bye.